Hello and welcome back. This is going to be yet another book haul from the Book Thing of Baltimore, a wonderful nonprofit where they give out free books every weekend and also accept donations of your unwanted books. And unfortunately, this is a little bit of a depressing haul for me just because I was really planning to go in, you've heard this before, I was really planning to go in and just grab a few things, but unfortunately, once again, I channeled my little pink friend who you see at the beginning and end of every video and got a little piggy. So I better get on with the haul if we're going to have time for everything. First, I got this book, Roman by Roman Polanski. It's his autobiography, and it looks like it says Oman because this was apparently part of some high school library. What high school decides they need Roman Polanski's autobiography, I have no idea. But it really does say Roman, they just managed to block it out. And then I got White Teeth, a novel by Zadie Smith. A good friend of mine has read this and says that it embodied everything he loves and everything he hates about the contemporary British novel. So I'm going to have to check that out and see. Then I got For the Term of His Natural Life by Marcus Clarke. This is apparently a classic convict novel beloved by generations of Australians. And I got Castleman in the Academy, Stories by Charles Ramelkamp. This looks like a campus type, well, not novel, but story collection. And The War of Don Emanuel's Nether Parts by, Louis de Bernières. Into the Heart of Borneo, travel book by Redmond O'Hanlon. And then I got this biography of Dirk Bogarde by John Coldstream. This is the authorized biography. And Bogarde is one of my favorite actors. He was a British actor who was, I guess, most active in the 60s cinema, or 50s as well. But I really like him, great actor. And I got this biggie, Mystic Chords of Memory, The Transformation of Tradition in American Culture by Michael Cannon. This is a pretty hefty work of cultural criticism and history. And then this jacketless book, Summer in Baden-Baden by Leonid Sipkin. I'd heard of the book before, but unfortunately, this one has no jacket to show you. And then this novel, Commencement by J. Courtney Sullivan. This is another sort of campus story. I'm not sure how excited I'm going to be by this because it looks like it picks up years later at the wedding of these four women who went to Smith, and I don't know if it's really going to be my thing, but I figured I might as well take a look. Then The Great and Secret Show by Clive Barker. Clive Barker is a very well-known horror story writer and novelist. He wrote the stories that the films Candyman and Hellraiser were based on. Just a really well-known guy. I read a collection of his short stories called The Inhuman Condition, which I really did not like. They didn't scare me, they didn't do anything for me, I just didn't like them much at all. But I've heard from a friend that this one is kind of crazy but pretty interesting, and it's an apocalyptic novel, so might as well check it out. So I'm going to be spending some time on it. It's pretty big. Then I got The Powwow Highway, a novel by David Seals. This is another in this Plume contemporary fiction series, and I've mentioned this before in, I think, at least one other of my book hauls. If you see something with this Plume fiction logo and it was published in, I'd say, the mid-'80s to the early '90s, definitely grab it because almost everything they published during that time winds up being really, really good. Then I got this, Mrs. Harris, The Death of the Scarsdale Diet Doctor by Diana Trilling. This is a true crime story, and I believe was filmed with, I want to say, Annette Bening in the title role. I'm not a big true crime reader, but I was kind of interested in this because Diana Trilling is a fairly well-known public intellectual, and she was also the wife of Lionel Trilling, who's another very famous public intellectual. So I'm just curious to read her take on the true crime genre. Then I got a book of poetry, Field Guide by Robert Hass. And collected poems of Eleanor Wiley. Bit of an old book there. And the poetry of Yevgeny Yevtushenko. And then I got this, Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. This, as you can see, is a huge novel, probably one of the most famous postmodern novels ever written, originally published in the 90s. And I don't know, I actually tried to read it a few years ago, or more than a few years ago, probably close to 10 years ago. And I borrowed it from somebody, wound up not finishing it. I just found it very tricksy and clever, but to me clever is as clever does. If you're clever but your work doesn't really touch me or make me see anything in a new way, what good is it to me? But that was my reaction several years ago, and I have read some pretty smart critiques of this, and also some smart critiques that said it's really not all that great. But I figured I should give it another try. And I did read Wallace's collection of, I guess it was sort of a collection of stories, brief interviews with hideous men, which I really did not like at all, and I kept getting that same too clever by half feeling. But I figure I should give this another shot, might as well. Then I got Elizabeth Bishop's collected prose. I already have her collected poetry in this very nice Farrar, Straus and Giroux edition. And I got a novel by Mordecai Rickler, Barney's Version. This is actually another one of these. I know I'm going to want to see the film, and then once I see the film, if I like it, I'll probably want to read the book, so might as well pick it up. And I also saw the film version of Joshua Then and Now, which was also based on a Rickler novel, but have not read that one yet either. Then I got The Black Album, a novel by Hanif Qureshi. I'd read a collection of Qureshi's short stories called Love in a Blue Time, which I really did not like at all. There was one story in there, My Son the Fanatic, which I thought was pretty good. But then I've seen a bunch of films that he's written the screenplay for. Like I saw The Mother and Venus, and I think maybe even a couple of others. And I really liked those, so I'm interested in giving him another chance, and I found this one. Then I got a history book, The Vikings by Johannes Brandstedt, in one of these great Pelican editions. And On the Narrow Road, Journey into a Lost Japan by Leslie Downer. This was fascinating to me because I believe Downer is trying to follow the path taken by Basho, the great Japanese haiku poet who wrote The Narrow Road to the Deep North and On Love and Barley, both of which I've loved. So I'm eager to check this out. And then I got, alright, this is going to be a pronunciation challenge, Yanomamo, The Fierce People by Napoleon A. Chagnon. And I'm interested in this because you may recall I got a book a while ago called The Fierce People, which was based on a film I'd seen, and the book wasn't really about this tribe, but they mention the tribe and discuss it, so I'm curious to read about the actual tribe. Then I got this novel, Double Honeymoon by Evan Connell, Jr., author of Mrs. Bridge, which I really liked, and also of Mr. Bridge. And Galloway Cannell, A New Selected Poems. The Professor, a novel by Jack Lynn. This is sort of a mafia story about a professor who gets thrown in with the mob, and it looks a little trashy, but you gotta love the cover. Oh dear, there we go. And The Mystic Life of Merlin by R.J. Stewart. Destined to Witness, Growing Up Black in Nazi Germany by Hans J. Massaquoi, or Massaquoi. Havana Journal by Andrew Salke. Satanism and Witchcraft by Jules Michelet. Never hurts to be informed. Brewer's Dictionary of Phrase and Fable. And a couple of mystery novels, Introducing Amanda Valentine by Rose Beecham, and Edited Out by Lisa Haddock. Nice modern library edition of Selected Stories of John O'Hara. The Wicked Day by Mary Stewart, an entry in her Arthurian series. In the Name of the Father, the Daughter, and the Holy Spirit, Remembering Roberto Rossellini by Isabella Rossellini. A Sky Blue Life and Selected Stories by Maxim Gorky. The Ritz, a play by Terence McNally, who wrote a couple of really good plays, A Perfect Ganesh and Love, Valor, Compassion, and also, I believe, wrote Frankie and Johnny in the Clair de Lune. And Lord Foul's Bane by Stephen R. Donaldson, which I believe is the first volume in the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant the Unbeliever, which I've been looking for a long time, so I really hope this is in fact the first volume. And then I got Killing the White Man's Indian, Reinventing Native Americans at the End of the 20th Century by Fergus M. Bordovich. Choices by Liv Ullmann, a follow-up to her first memoir, Changing, and Ullmann was the star of many films by Ingmar Bergman, who's one of my favorite directors. Mao and China From Revolution to Revolution by Stanley Carno. And last but not least, Medium Cool, The Movies of the 1960s by Ethan Morden, which happens to refer in its title to one of my favorite films, Medium Cool. And if you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join me for my next video.